Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be part of this important event, the winter seminar of the Asian Congress of Neurological Surgeons. Let me first of all express my sincere appreciation for the kind invitation of Professor Yuko Kato. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nasser El Ghandour. I am president of the Egyptian Society of Neurological Surgeons. I'm General Secretary of the Continental Association of African Neurosurgical Societies, and I'm second Vice President of the World Federation of Neurosurgical Societies as well. My talk today will be about neurosurgical education in Egypt and Africa. Let me first go back to the history, go back to 3,000 years before Christ, in order to highlight the Egyptian role in the development of neurosurgery all over the world. This is Edwin Smith Papyrus, and it is the oldest well-known surgical experience on Earth. And it shows that the first trephination operation was performed by the Egyptian pharaohs, and this goes back to about 3,000 years before Christ. Egyptian pharaohs had an old belief that the soul comes back inside the body in the afterlife. That's why they started the procedure of mummification. During this procedure, they were evacuating the brain through the nostrils, and this was the beginning of the transsphenoidal operation. Then the history documents an Arabic physician who was living in Andalus, in Cordoba, in Spain, between 936 and 1013, and he described several aspects of neurosurgical pathology and instruments. Look at this map. Neurosurgery began here in the Africa and Middle East between the 9th and 13th centuries. From Africa and Middle East, knowledge diffused to Europe, Asia, and America. Our objective with the beginning of new millennium, that we are eager to provide the best quality of neurosurgical care to our patients, the same like in advanced continents. I would like to speak first about neurosurgery in Egypt. The first neurosurgical practice in Egypt was performed very long years ago, on 1949. On 1952, the first neurosurgical consultant and the first neurosurgical unit was created in Cairo University. At such time, it constituted 25 beds. In 1956, the first neurosurgical department was created in Alexandria University. The Egyptian Society of Neurological Surgeons was founded in 1967, and it joined the World Federation of Neurosurgical Societies 2 years later on. This shows the School of Medicine to which I'm affiliated, and I'm working as professor of neurosurgery in Nasser El Ghandour School of Medicine, Cairo University. This School of Medicine was created in 1827, and this shows the complex hospitals as it looks from Google Earth. What about neurosurgical practice in Egypt? We have 4 types of hospitals: university hospitals, These hospitals are affiliated to the Egyptian universities. They offer free health care and teaching of medical students, which is also almost free. Ministry of Health hospitals. These hospitals belong to the Ministry of Health. They are offering a low-cost medical service, and there are two types of such hospitals: insurance hospitals and educational hospitals. The third type of hospitals is the military hospitals. They have very good resources and they serve mainly military personnel and their families. The fourth type of hospitals is private hospitals. They are well equipped. They are offering very good neurosurgical service, but they are very expensive. When we look at the neurosurgical certification in Egypt, we have two types. The degree of doctor, we call it MD degree. This is an academic degree which is awarded by the Egyptian universities through a training program extending from 6 to 8 years. And the applicants are usually the graduates on top of class from the same university. The other type of certification is the fellowship neurosurgery. This is a clinical fellowship and it's not an academic degree. It's awarded by the Ministry of Health through a training program extending from 7 to 9 years. And the applicants are medical graduates from Egyptian, African, and Arabic universities. An important publication by one of the Egyptian neurosurgical leaders, Professor Said El Ghandour, in the Neurosurgery 2002. It is an important quotation taken from such publication, which says becoming a neurosurgeon in Egypt is a long, arduous process. Then it comes another important publication of Professor Peter Black in the World Neurosurgery 2010. And at this publication, there was a global ranking procedure which evaluates the training programs in neurosurgery and the process of certification in all countries worldwide. The scoring system in this publication is out of 40 points. And as we can see that the highest scoring was from Malaysia. It was 21 out of 40. And in Africa, Egypt was taking 18 points out of 40. And when we look at other countries, the United States, 20 out of 40, and Japan, 17 out of 40 points. Neurosurgical education in Egypt. We have a lot of neurosurgical activities. In Egypt, the annual Egyptian Congress, and it takes place every year, usually at the end of March or at the beginning of April. The annual summer entry meeting, we have main Congress, Egyptian Congress, and two entry meetings, one in summer, and usually it's organized in Alexandria, and winter meeting, usually it's organized in Upper Egypt, either Luxor or Aswan or Asyut. Each university is organizing an annual conference or a scientific activity each year. And so, in conclusion, every month we have one or two neurosurgical events, either scientific activities or courses or hands-on workshops in the different subspecialties of neurosurgery. This shows the African attendees surrounding the president of the World Federation of Neurosurgical Societies and myself through a hands-on workshop about neuroendoscopy organized by the Egyptian Society of Neurosurgery in collaboration of the World Federation of Neurosurgical Societies in March 2018. Another neuroendoscopy workshop, which was organized in March 2019 in Cairo. We are offering scholarships for African attendees and for attendees from developing countries, and they are welcome to join our hands-on workshops in the different neurosurgical subspecialties. Now we speak about the neurosurgical education in Africa and the neurosurgical situation. When we look at Africa, we will find that there is definitely limited number of neurosurgeons. I'm going to present the challenges and proposals in order to overcome these challenges or problems. The first problem is the limited number of neurosurgeons. When you look at the ratio, you will find that each neurosurgeon is serving about 100 population in African continent. The second obstacle is the unbalanced distribution in the continent. We have the north and south regions in Africa are well developed than the east, west, and central concerning the number of neurosurgeons and the neurosurgical capacity. And so when you look at the north and south, you will find one neurosurgeon serving about 300,000 population. These numbers according to the workforce map, which is published in the World Federation of Neurosurgical Societies in 2016. Whereas in the other regions, east, west, and central, each neurosurgeon is serving about 2 million population. There is another problem, which is the unbalanced distribution in each country, whereas urban areas are more advanced and developed than rural areas. The fourth challenge is the rapidly increasing population. Africa has a very rapid rate of increased population, more than any other continent. This means that the number of neurosurgeons must increase by the same rate, and this puts an extra burden on the process of neurosurgical education and training. It also results in an increase in the pediatric age group, which is associated with an increase in the congenital anomalies like hydrocephalus, meningoceles, and an increase in the head injury. How to overcome such obstacle or such challenge? Along the short term, our proposal is that we have to know that Africa has a deficit of more than 8,500 neurosurgeons. Obviously, this deficit will not be filled in the near future. And so education of non-neurosurgeons like general surgeons and pediatric surgeons in order to be able to perform life-saving and minor neurosurgical procedures, whereas qualified neurosurgeons can allocate the necessary time in order to be able to do complex neurosurgical procedures. That's very important. What about our proposal along the long term? This has to be associated with an increased number of neurosurgeons, and this goes hand to hand with obtaining the needed equipment. Another obstacle is the lack of the resources, and that's considered to be one of the main obstacles. Shortage of facilities and basic equipment in sub-Saharan regions. And in many countries, neurosurgical care is not considered a priority, is considered about luxury. And without the availability of the basic equipment in neurosurgery, such specialty will not be developed in sub-Saharan Africa. Requirements: an important link should exist between neurosurgical societies and local authorities and non-governmental organizations, which can offer donations and funds needed for training and equipment. Another problem is the problem of training. African candidates, for years, they used to go to be trained in the United States of America and Europe. Unfortunately, most of these candidates, after becoming qualified in neurosurgery, they don't come back home, and they stay forever in United States and Europe, And the minority of these people who come back home, they suffer from the problem of maladaptation. The proposal to solve this challenge or this problem, we have to work hard in order to develop local neurosurgical problems and neurosurgical training centers in sub-Saharan Africa. At the same time, a lot of achievements have been done. This is the Africa 100 program, and the first graduate of Africa 100 program was trained in Egypt through a training program extending from 7.5 years ago. This program was created by Professor Majid Sami. There is Rabat Reference Center for Training, which was accredited in 2002, but it's mainly training or educating candidates from Francophone countries. Another reference center exists, which is the EXA region. It was accredited 2012, and mainly it educates and trains candidates from Anglophone countries. Then we had a lot of activities and a lot of agreements. In July 2019 in Egypt, there was an important agreement or memorandum of understanding with 3 centers. The Cairo University, these photos shows that the dean, the CANS president and secretary, myself, with the dean of the Faculty of Medicine in Cairo University and Ain Shams University, and the Center of Continuous Medical Learning, which belongs to the military. And these are 3 of the important neurosurgical centers in Egypt. And this memorandum of understanding was signed in order to share in training of African candidates in Egypt. Right now in Egypt, there are 13 African candidates who are joining the neurosurgical training programs in different universities and different neurosurgical centers belonging to the Ministry of Health. Another important challenge is the lack of a governmental awareness. Without financial support of governments, it will be impossible to increase the neurosurgical capacity in Africa. And the proposal is that collaboration is very important with vital components and other specialties, such as the G4 Alliance, the WHO WFNS Liaison Committee. Without the existence of such collaboration, neurosurgical specialty will remain an isolated, impotent specialty. Another important challenge is the lack of communication, collaboration. And that's very important. There is no accurate information about the number of neurosurgeons or any communication data like database. Also, we have the problem of language. Some countries speak English, some countries speak French, which adds to the division of our continent. And the proposal is that we have to establish a very important communication system. This is what I was trying to do since I started to become the General Secretary of the Continental Association of African Neurosurgical Societies. I developed the e-hotline service, and it's very important when you put this link 2013.tel in the browser of the smartphone or in the browser of the laptop. Within a few seconds, you are going to be transferred inside our organization. We also developed the website www.cans2013.org. Remind you that 2013 refers to the year at which all the African organizations were united under the name of CANS, which is the single African neurosurgical society or organization. gathering all the African continent in one organization under, and under one name, which is the CANS. Now, when you put this link in the browser of the mobile or the laptop, it opens a homepage of CANS. You can find a group of icons concerning everything about the CANS organization. You can find the officers, you can find the database of member societies, you can find the bylaws. There is link which is concerning the CANS Congress, Bank Swift, how to pay for membership of member societies, the journal, the gallery, everything is available in the homepage of the CANS. And remind you that the e-hotline is not the website. There is icon for the website of CANS. Just clicking of this icon will open the website for CANS. You can also access the YouTube channel and the Facebook page of CANS. Everything can be done, and it's very fast technology, which is the e-hotline technology. This is considered to be the fastest way of communication, well known worldwide, and we are honored that we are the only continental organization worldwide to start the service of the e-hotline. The e-hotline brings all African neurosurgeons into a common IT platform, and definitely it will enhance the process of education and training in neurosurgery. That is the link again, www.2013.tel. This video shows how this technology of e-hotline works. It illustrates briefly how it works. After making a critical analysis for the evaluation of the neurosurgical education in our continent and in our country, I was honored to publish the results of this evaluation in the neurosurgical focus in March 2020. And I'm glad to have these conclusions. Neurosurgical education in Africa is still far from adequate for many reasons and many obstacles, as discussed before. There is definite functional polarity, which we can notice that the North and South regions are more developed regarding the number of neurosurgeons and the neurosurgical capacity, more than other regions like East, West, and the East, West, and Central Africa. So you can find that countries like Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and South Africa are more developed than sub-Saharan Africa. We also have another important conclusion that Egypt is well developed in neurosurgery regarding both equipment and the training programs. Egyptian neurosurgeons constitute one-third of African neurosurgeons. We can make privilege of this polarity and make it as a sort of integration. And if there is good collaboration between these two poles existing in the same African continent, the North and South is going to take the full responsibility about training and about education in sub-Saharan Africa. This will make the neurosurgery an independent specialty in Africa. And so proper collaboration between the different regions is very important in order to enhance the process of neurosurgical education in Africa. And for proper collaboration to be done, simply there should be a very proper or a very competent communication system. And this is what I was trying to do. I established the most competent communication system well known worldwide, which is the e-hotline service. Hopefully, this will gather all the African neurosurgical countries into a common IT platform, and this will enhance the process of neurosurgical education and training all over the African continent. I was also happy to have this global survey about the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on neurosurgery and neurosurgeons worldwide. With my team, we performed the first survey worldwide about the impact of COVID-19 on neurosurgery. It was published in the Neurosurgery. I'm glad also to have another survey with my team about the about the impact of COVID-19 on the process of neurosurgical training worldwide. This is an important paper published in the Neurosurgical Focus, Virtual Learning During the COVID-19 Pandemic, a Turning Point in the Neurosurgical Education. Another survey was performed by the African team of neurosurgery in Kenya, and it was published in the World Neurosurgery about the impact of COVID-19 on neurosurgical training, but in Africa, not globally. I'm also happy and glad to be part of this important publication, which is published in the Chinese Neurosurgical Journal about the global neurosurgical education horizon of neurosurgery in the developing countries. And another important publication, which I'm one of the authors over this publication, and it gives me pride to contribute in this publication, which honors our neurosurgical colleagues who lost their life while fighting against COVID-19. Unfortunately, 3 out of these colleagues who died as victims of COVID-19 are Egyptian neurosurgeons. Let me end my talk by sending my prayers to all of them to rest in peace and to be in heaven. Thank you very much.